Good morning. My name is Graham. I'm the land steward at Goose Pond Sanctuary. So as the land steward, my primary duties would be removing invasive species, doing plant and animal surveys, working with the public. So this might be things like field trips and education events. So here we are at Goose Pond this morning, and there's a lot of birds on the pond right now. On the main pond, there's also a lot of birds on the east pond, which is across Goose Pond Road on the east side. So while we're doing this, feel free to type in questions in the comments section for this Facebook Live event, and we will try to answer them as they come in. And you can also type in questions afterwards, and we're still going to try to answer those for you. So first thing I'd like to talk about a little bit is a checklist that I made recently at Goose Pond, and the numbers are pretty impressive, so I just want to highlight a couple things. Number one is the greater white-fronted goose. We basically only see those in the spring, and about a week ago I counted 1,972 greater white-fronted geese, and they're scattered all over Goose Pond. They're on the main pond, the east pond, also next to Highway I. They're all over the place, but they are starting to move on, so if you want to see those guys, you should probably come pretty soon. We have had a lot of tundra swans on this checklist. I only have 69, but recently somebody counted 1,400 tundra swans on the main pond, so that's a great opportunity to see those as well. They're pretty close to both Campen Road and Goose Pond Road. And then another thing of note is all of the diving ducks. We have a lot of canvasbacks, some buffleheads, ringnecks, scaup, redheads. And those guys are really playful. They make a lot of crazy head movements, and they're diving all the time. And I suppose the last thing that I would like to mention is the American kestrels. They just started coming back recently, and there's a few pairs of them around Goose Pond starting to check out maybe potential nesting sites. Sometimes they make a ruckus by squawking, so you might hear them from time to time around here too. So I just want to remind people also about a couple of the visiting ethics. Just give people their space, give the birds their space, and also I just want to remind people that the area around the pond is off limits to walk on. The road and all of the trails are completely open, so feel free to hike whenever you would like to do that. We have over 12 miles of hiking trails total, so there's a lot of space for people out there. And then also just that you're not allowed to have dogs or walk on the tracks, but definitely encourage hiking anytime you would like to do that. So I just want to talk a couple things about what we're doing as far as land management. And over the last couple weeks, we've been doing a lot of shrub control at the UW Farms remnant prairie, right? So our remnant prairie has never been plowed. It's probably never been herbicided or maybe very lightly grazed. So we've been removing a lot of shrubs there to bring back those native plants. And the other place we've been doing a lot of shrub removal is up in the oak savanna on top of the hill, which you can see from the pond really clearly. Hopefully, when you guys come back, maybe in a month or two, that'll look totally different and all those shrubs will be gone. It's kind of ambitious, there's a lot of them, but it's a really special place and we're going to try to make it look as good as we possibly can. And so speaking of the UW Farms Remnant Prairie, I'm also part of a remnant mapping project. And so I'm talking to landowners and also prairie experts like prairie enthusiasts and other local people with knowledge like that about where these remnants are. And so then I'm going to those prairies and inventorying them, seeing if they have good plants on them still, and trying to help out the landowners with recommendations on their land management. Maybe that's burning or shrub removal and things like that. And we've found some really rare stuff too, state threatened, state endangered species. You just got to keep an eye out. There is stuff out there to be found. Another note on wildlife, it is spring now, and so that means that the salamanders have just started to come back out. So here is a tiger salamander. He's a little cold, but you can see he's real spotted. And since he's cold, he's also slow. And so they cross the road, and sometimes it takes them a real long time. So when you're driving around, look for these little lumps. Sometimes they even look like tar, but they're real salamanders. So look forward to seeing more of these guys over the next few weeks. And then also in early September, during a warm, rainy night, they'll migrate all over the place, and there will be hundreds, maybe thousands of them. So different time of year, but definitely an incredible sight to see. And then the last thing about wildlife is the muskrats. Unfortunately for the muskrats, the geese and swans have been crushing their houses because they really like to stand on them. But you can still see muskrats swimming all over the pond, and they like to sun themselves, sometimes in little piles. I've seen piles of muskrats up to maybe 8 or 10 individuals. You can't really count them because it's just kind of a big fluffy ball. But that's a fun thing to look for. They're really cute and very visible from basically all of the roadways. So Brendan, do we have any questions back there?
We don't. They can type them in anytime.
Okay, well, you guys can type in questions at any time, and we will definitely try to answer those as we get to them. But we encourage you to come out and enjoy this very nice scene of all the birds. East Pond, West Pond, also on County Highway I, there's a lot of birds. And definitely don't forget to take advantage of the hiking trails, which, as I said before, we've got a lot of beautiful scenery, and a lot of new spring birds are starting to come back. So that's a good sign after a long winter.